Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the podcast. Today we're going to give you some success tips from owner-operators, not just from me, from everybody else, but we got a whole bunch of people to talk to today. Some of these are past interviews that we've done, and I've broken them out and given you some of the success tips for today. If you're an owner-operator, you're going to love this. At the beginning, Colby Varley, who's a load broker, was saying that on-time performance is one of the key factors to having people work with you and making sure that you're doing things correctly. We talked with Sasha Walker, who's known as the box truck millionaire and built a box truck company with her fiance. And she was saying that, training yourself, understanding what the problems are, and then training others to avoid those was the secret to putting together a team that could be successful on the road. We talked with Orest Alexander. He's a brand new owner-operator, and he was just saying that it's good. There's a lot you don't think about as a truck driver, and you need to really understand what it is to be an owner-operator and why that's important. There's things like networking and costs and business mindset and all those things he was talking about on this. We also talked with Ken Robinson, who was saying, hey, you know what? You might be blowing most of your money out the stocks if you don't understand your truck. If you have the wrong truck for the program that you're on, if you are, driving something that's not really equipped for the job, or you're driving something flashy because you like to, but it doesn't really fit with what you're doing, you could be wasting a lot of money. And he gave us an example of a guy who's basically blowing $60,000 a year out the stocks. We talked with Daryl Lawrence, who said that, it's all about just making sure that you know what your costs are, and don't get too tied into, I only go here, and get choosy with your runs. He said, look at what's making the money. Find out ways that you can save money, slow down a little bit, and not, avoid tolls, watch your fuel, those kind of things. That's what makes it successful for an owner-operator. And then we just talked with Eustache Nambaje, who said, yeah, you can make money at trucking, but you really need to know what you're doing, and it's a commitment to doing it. And he says, you got to wake up early. He says you got to be thinking ahead of the person that you're delivering for. Don't be rolling in with everybody else. You need to really be on the ball and know exactly what you're doing and think about some of the things that are happening. So there's lots of great stuff that came up on this podcast. If you're listening to the YouTube version, you might want to go and listen to the whole show for sure. But we certainly had some great tips there. So if you're an owner-operator, work on these tips. If you know your numbers. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Knowing your numbers, knowing exactly what, how much your truck is costing you, how much the company is paying for, look for runs that maybe it's time to switch runs and get something that's maybe paying a little more or a little easier on your truck if you've got an older truck. Maybe it's time to upgrade a truck. There's no right or wrong answers when you're in business, unfortunately. That's what being an owner-operator is. So hopefully some of these tips helped you. I hope they did. And thanks for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you subscribe whatever platform you're on. And we're on social, or on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's X now. And you can also find us on LinkedIn. So there you go, my friends. Enjoy, and we will catch you later.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.